Hello, fifth grade, and welcome to a lesson on poetry and how to recognize the rhyming pattern, figurative language, and sound devices that can be used in poetry. We're going to be going over this as some of you had issues with this past week in class. The first sound device we're going to talk about is alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of words that start with the same consonant sound, that start with B, C, D, like big boys, bat, balls. Those are words that start with C or B, the beginning B sound, the consonant sound. Some other examples. Some silly students sing sad songs. As you can see, we are using an S consonant sound at the beginning of every word. So alliteration, remember, is the repetition of the same consonant sound at the beginning, the start of each word. Big balls bounce bad. That is a repeating consonant sound. Now let's look at assonance, which is the repetition of vowel sounds within words, not the consonant sounds, the vowel sounds. We have the sentence, how is the brown cow bowing down? As you can see, we have the short O vowel sound in this sentence. How, brown, cow, bowing down. Remember, assonance is the vowel sound that you're hearing. Take, bake, ache are the long A vowel sounds that you hear. High, sky, by, why. It's a long I vowel sound that you're hearing. With consonants, it's a loose repetition of consonant sounds at the ends of words or syllables. It's at the end of words or syllables. Our example, all tall mammals have 5 ways to live or survive. The first consonants that we see is all, tall, mammals. They all have that L consonant sound at the end of the word. Have, 5, live, survive. All have the V sound, the V consonant sound at the end of the words. This is what consonance is. Onomatopoeia, naming a thing or action by imitating the sound it makes, like buzz like a bee, woof like a dog, boom, hiss are some examples of onomatopoeia. Remember, those are things that imitate the sound it makes. Rhyme, remember, rhyme in poetry is the words at the end of each line. They have similar sounds. The sounds are not always exactly the same, but they are similar and they sound the same. The spelling does not have to be the same. Let's look at some examples. Thinking, linking. The ing sound is at the end, which is the rhyme. Bake, cake. Did you hear that rhyming pattern? Bake, cake. Another one, frog, hog. Frog, hog. Same rhyming pattern. High, sky are spelled differently, but they still have the same rhyming pattern. Another one, mean, fine. You still have that N sound at the end of each of those. So that's another rhyming pattern. Now let's look how we can make a rhyming pattern. When the rhyme comes at the end of the line, that's what we're looking at. Where in this book do you think I should look? Does look sound like book? Book, look? Yes, so we have an AA rhyming pattern. Every day I look at the sky, I think of my life and ask myself why. Y, sky. Y, sky is a rhyming pattern, so it would be B, B. Now let's look at some figurative language. I wanted to give you a definition of literal language as well. Remember, literal language are words that function exactly as they are defined. The car is blue. The house is purple. He caught the football. She kicked the ball. Are literal definitions. Figurative definitions, language, you have to figure out what it means. I've got your back. Does it mean literally that you have their back like the stick figures? No, it means that somebody is supporting you, that they're there for you if you need to talk. You're a doll. Does not mean that the person is a Barbie doll. They are nice. They're sweet. That is what you're a doll. Those are figures of speech that you may have heard. Let's look at a simile. Similes are a comparison of two things using like or as. A comparison of two things using like or as. Some examples. The metal twisted like a ribbon. She is as sweet as candy. A book is as light as a feather. Those are examples of similes. Why is the use of like or as important in similes? Because similes are comparing two things. If you see like or as, it must, in order for it to be a simile, it must compare two things. A statement like, I like pizza, is just that, a statement. It's not comparing two things. The moon is like a pizza is comparing two things. A pencil is like a flashlight is comparing two things. Now let's talk about metaphors. It's also comparing two things, but does not use like or as. Remember, metaphors do not use like or as when they compare two things. An example, the examples that they give us are, all the world is a stage. Men are dogs. Her heart is stone. These are the examples that they gave us. Some other examples. The world is an oyster. Those are examples of metaphors. Another one, the mountain is calling my name. That's another example of a metaphor. We're comparing mountain is calling my name. I'm sorry, shouldn't be in there. That's a personification. The mountain is a story to tell, is a metaphor. Now let's look at personification. Giving human traits to objects or ideas. Some examples that they gave us, the sunlight danced, water on the lake shivers, the streets are calling me, the dog spoke my name, the mountains are calling my name. Those are all examples of personification, giving human traits to objects or ideas. Hyperbole. Hyperbole is exaggerating something to show a strong feeling or effect. The examples they gave us are, I'll love you forever, my house is 1,000,000 miles away, she'd kill me, my feet are killing me in these shoes, the situation is at least 1,000,000 billion times worse than I imagined by Captain Hyperbole. Those are exaggerations to show strong feeling or effect. Onomatopoeia, remember, they're words that make a sound, like splat, ping, slam, pop, pow, to add to our other words that we learned earlier. Now let's look at some poetry. We have the spider. You will notice that I've underlined the ending word in this poem, the ending words in this poem. There is a reason for it. I want you to read this poem through its entirety, and then let's look at the rhyming pattern. Oh, look at that Great ugly spider, said Anne, and screaming she brushed it away with her fan. 'Tis a frightful black creature as ever can be. I wish that it would not come crawling on me. Indeed, said her mother, I'll venture to say, the poor thing will try to keep out of your way, for after the fright and the fall and the pain, it has much more occasion than you to complain. But why should you dread the poor insect, my dear? If it hurt you, there'd be some excuse for your fear. But its little black legs, as it hurried away, did but tickle your arm as they went, I dare say. For them to fear us we must grant to be just, who in less than a moment can tread them to dust. But certainly we have no cause for alarm, for were they to try it, they could do us no harm. Now look, it has got to its home, do you see? What a delicate web it has spun in the tree. Why, here, my dear Anne, is a lesson for you. Come learn from the spider what patience can do. When at your business you're tempted to play, recollect what you see in this insect today. Or else to your shame it may seem to be true that a poor little spider is wiser than you. Okay, so if we look at this poem, when we're looking for a rhyming pattern, we're looking at the ending sound in each line. We start with an, and then we check to see, does fan, an rhyme? Fan, an? Yes, it does rhyme. So we know we have an A rhyming pattern here. In the rest of the stanza, does B rhyme with fan? No, B, fan do not rhyme. So we know this would be a B. So we have an B rhyming pattern so far. Does me rhyme with B? Me, B. You're correct. That is a good rhyming pattern. So we know we have an B rhyming pattern. Now let's look at the next stanza. Say, way. Does say and way rhyme? Yes, they do. They have the same ending sound. Say, way. What about pain, way? Pain, way is not a rhyming pattern. So we know we have an B pattern so far. But does pain rhyme with complain? Complain, pain? Yes, that's a rhyming pattern. So we have the B rhyming pattern. As you continue to look at the ending sounds in this pattern, you will notice that it's an B rhyming pattern. When you're annotating poetry, it should look exactly like this when you're doing the rhyming pattern. Excuse me. Now I want you to take a look to see if we can find some alliteration. We have for, fright, fall. That is alliteration in that line. Remember, we're repeating the same consonant sound. Do we see any others? Right, there aren't any others. Now let's look to see if there is a lesson in this poem. This one actually tells us there's a lesson to be learned. It's in the 5th stanza. Why, my dear Anne, is a lesson for you. Come learn from the spider what patience can do. That is the lesson. Learn from the spider what patience can do. That is the lesson that you learned in this poem. Now let's look at another poem. Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. Oh, let me erase our annotations from the previous poem. Let's see if we can figure out what the rhyming pattern is in this one. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark, and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Okay, let's see if we found a rhyming pattern. Does no rhyme with though? No, though. Yes, they do rhyme, so we know we have an A rhyming pattern so far. Does here rhyme with though? Here, though. No, it does not. Does here rhyme with no? Here, no. It does not. So we know we have an B rhyming pattern so far. Does snow rhyme with here? Snow here? No, it does not. Does snow rhyme with though? Snow, though? Yes. So if we know that line 1 and line 2 are AA, line 4 would be an A. It would be an AABA rhyming pattern. So look at the second stanza. Queer, near. Do those words rhyme? Queer, near. Yes, they do rhyme, so that's an AA rhyming pattern. Does lake rhyme with near? Lake, near? No, so we know we have an AAB rhyming pattern so far. Does year rhyme with lake? No, it does not. But does year rhyme with near? Near, ear? Yes. Year, queer. Year, queer is also a rhyme. So this stanza, the second stanza, is an AABA rhyming pattern. If we look at the third stanza, if we look at the last sounds at each line, shake, take, flake. Shake, take, flake, rhyme. Sweep, which is the third line, does not rhyme. So again, we have that repeating pattern, A, B, A. But let's look at the last one. Deep, keep, sleep, sleep. Does deep rhyme with keep? Yes. Does sleep rhyme with keep? Yes. Does sleep rhyme with deep? Yes. So the last stanza is an A rhyming pattern. Just like we have shown. But you'll notice that I highlighted a couple lines. They're repeated. Why do you think lines are repeated in poetry? If you said it's because it wants to add emphasis to those lines, that is correct. They're important because it's telling us that he paused, but he still has a long way to go before his trip is finished. Now let's look at another poem. We're going to try and figure out if we can figure out what the title of this poem should be. We'll also notice the rhyming pattern. A filing cabinet of human lives, where people swarm like bees in tunneled hives, each to his own cell in the towered comb, identical and cramped we call it home. We know the rhyming pattern is lives, hives. Lives, hives rhyme, so it's AA. Comb, hives? No, comb and hives doesn't rhyme, so it's AAB. Does home, comb rhyme? Home, comb does rhyme, so we have an AABB rhyming pattern. But what is the title of this poem? What do you think it could be? A filing cabinet of human lives, where people swarm like bees in tunneled hives, each to his own cell in the towered comb, identical and cramped we call it home. If you thought of an apartment building, that would be a good title for this poem. Let's look at another poem that we're going to have to figure out a rhyming pattern and a title for. Here is this poem. They rise like sudden fury flowers, they burst upon the night, then fall to earth in burning showers of crimson, blue, and white. Like buds too wonderful to name, each miracle unfolds, and Catherine wheels begin to flame like whirling marigolds. Rockets and Roman candles make an orchard of the sky, whence magic trees their petals shake upon each gazing eye. What rhyming pattern did you notice? Let's look. Does flowers and night rhyme? Flowers, night. No, so we know we have start off with an A-B rhyming order. Does showers rhyme with night? No, but does showers rhyme with flowers? Flowers, showers. Yes, so we know we have an A-B-A rhyming pattern so far. Does white rhyme with showers? White, showers? No. Does white rhyme with night? White, night? Yes. So we know we have an A-B rhyming order. Does name rhyme with white? No. Does name rhyme with showers? No. So we know we have an A, B, C rhyming pattern so far. Does unfolds rhyme with the name? Does not. Unfolds, names. So we go A, B, C, D. Does flame rhyme with unfolds? Unfolds, flame. No. Does flame rhyme with name? Flame, name. Yes. So we know we have an A, B, C, D, C. Does marigolds rhyme with flame? No. Marigolds rhymes with unfold. So our rhyming pattern, A, B, C, D, E, F is our rhyming pattern. What do you think a good title for this one might be? Fireworks is correct. Let's look at another one. In the gray evening, I see a long green serpent. With its tail in the dahlias, it lies and loops across the grass and drinks softly at the faucet. I can hear it swallow. Was there a rhyming pattern in that poem? Evening, serpent, dahlias, grass, swallows? No, this was a free verse. And a good title for it would be Snake, because a green serpent, we think of a snake. Now we're going to take a look at a song. This song can be said to the rhythm of Shake It Off by Taylor Swift. I've got text to read, I'm looking for meaning. That's what readers do, that's what readers do. I read and annotate, and I read and stay up late. That's what readers do, that's what readers do. Now it's time for testing. STAR is our state testing. And I'm gonna rock it right, saying I'm putting up a fight. Because we're gonna use the race. Gonna start with our restate, race. I'm just gonna write. Text response. Reader's gonna read. And the thinker's gonna think. And I'm just gonna write. Text response. After we restate, we're gonna cite our source. The source, using page numbers, of course. Page numbers, of course, and then I must explain all the thinking in my brain, combining sentences and proof. So I keep writing, can't stop, won't stop writing. It's like I got this answer in my mind, saying I'm gonna rock this test. Did you notice the rhyming pattern? Read, meaning, which is an A-B rhyming pattern. Do, which is repeated. You'll see that we have an A-B, C. The second line is an A-B, the stanza. The A-B is repeated in the third stanza. The fourth stanza is an A-B, C, rhyming pattern, which is similar to A-B, C, D, because we have every two lines rhyming in the fifth stanza. In the sixth stanza, the first two lines rhyme, the second two lines rhyme, the third line doesn't rhyme, or the fifth line doesn't rhyme. The sixth line rhymes with lines 3 and 4, and 7 and 8 are another rhyme. And then the last two lines do not rhyme. And then our rhyming pattern in the bottom. If you notice, there are lines, a lot of words that are A lot of lines that are repeated. That's what readers do. That's what readers do. You see that it's repeated several times throughout this poem. Why do you think the author is using these lines so many times? Why do you think they're repeating these lines? If you said it's because it's important, yes, it is important. If you'll also notice some of these lines are alliteration. Race, race, race. Right, right, right. Those are examples of alliteration. What do you think this poem is trying to teach us? It's trying to teach us to always annotate what we're reading, do our best on any test. Make sure you're citing text evidence when you're writing a text response. Those are all good parts of what this poem is. And we're highlighting that alliteration that we were talking about. Now let's look at another poem, The Mouse. I hear a mouse bitterly complaining in a crack of moonlight aslant on the floor. Little I ask, and that little is not granted. There are few crumbs in this road anymore. The bread box is tin, and I cannot get in. The gems in a jar my teeth cannot mar. The cheese sits by itself on the pantry shelf. All night I run, searching and seeking. All night I run about on the floor. Moonlight is there, a fair place for dancing, but no little feast is spread anymore. Was there any rhyming in this here poem? The bread box is tin and I cannot get in is a rhyming pattern, tin, in. But the first stanza is an A, B, C, D rhyming pattern. The second stanza is an A, B, C, D rhyming pattern. Third stanza is an AA rhyming pattern. The fourth stanza is an AABB rhyming pattern. And the last stanza, the fifth stanza, is an ABC rhyming pattern. Moonlight is there. Let's write our text. We have a B, C, D, A, B, C, D, A, 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 B, B, we have A, B, C, and our last stanza was A, B, C, D. That was our rhyming pattern for this poem. That is the rhyming pattern for this poem. Did you notice anything else about this poem? Why do you think the author wrote this poem? I think the author wrote this poem to give us an insight into how the mouse felt when it couldn't get something to eat. Let's take a look at our next piece of poetry. Well, that was it for today, guys. I hope this helps you with your poetry. If you have any questions, just watch this video again and again until you understand. Otherwise, I hope to see you next time.